Welcome to Elevate Your Event Live. We will be doing these monthly. We will be sharing event best practices. We'll be sharing stories, the good, the bad, the ugly. We also intend to share tips and tricks. I got some pretty cool stuff I want to show you guys today. It'll be fun, a little AI kind of stuff, a little nerdy stuff. We're going to do a partner or a customer spotlight. And today we have Trisha Rosever from the Risk-Free Item Shop, which is a partnership that we have just established on the consignment side. So we'll be walking through that. And then what is new in the Handbid software? If there's anything we can share, we will do that monthly. And we'll also kind of tell you what's coming up next. Okay. Okay.
Oh, good.
All right. Elise has found new powers in the software. Looks like you just moved Lori Mackay in. There we go. All right. There she is. Score. All right. We got a whole party of people coming today. Okay. So we will record this. It is live. So we want to do less slides, more demo. Ask your questions along the way, please. We've got folks here, like I said, in the room that are willing and able and excited about answering those questions for you. Okay. All right. So let's get going. Let's dive in. All right. So let's start off by making you smarter. Here is an event best practice. Okay. These come up from time to time. You know, we meet weekly as a team. And so we'll kind of discuss what feedback has come in from our events, even the ones we staff, sometimes the ones we don't staff. We'll discuss kind of what's working. We'll talk about things that we've tried, things that our customers have tried. And then we turn these into tips. And these are just things for you to consider. It doesn't always, not all these tips fit every event. So you have to kind of decide what's going to work for you. But our tip or suggestion is that you consider doing your paddle raise before the live auction. Now, why would we want to do that? Okay. And we're going to talk about some of the benefits of that is that it connects your presentation. You just talked about what you're doing in your organization. You just gave your speech. You just had your tear-jerking moving video. Why would you want to then move into heads and tails in a live auction? You should roll right into the ask, right? Just think about how that might flow. I think it will continue to engage more guests. You're going to have guests who are going to look at your live auction program and say, I don't want to wait through 8 items, you know, in order to close out. So let's just go. So we do think you might have a better revenue opportunity. So you go from your video or your presentation right into the ask. You're going to keep your guests in their seat. They just remembered what you said, and now you're tying it into your goal. It also is going to help checkout, because if you think about the traditional way we do these, and I say traditional, they're not, everybody's different, right? But a lot of our customers will do, you know, kind of, they're running their silent all night, and then they do their presentation, then they do their live auction. And then when that's over, they do their paddle raise. And while their paddle raise is ending, they're closing their silent auction, and you've got your staff or your mobile bidding company, whoever, frantically trying to enter in all these donations at the end because people are lining up to check out because it's time to go. So if you actually did your paddle raise first, while the live auction is going on, you could probably get a lot of that stuff entered into the system. And your mobile bidding company would thank you for that. Maybe. I don't know. And then here's the thing about thermometers. I mean, and this comes up a lot, and it's like kind of counter, like you're probably not going to expect that I would ever say this, but I'm not a huge fan of showing thermometers in the room. I'm not as cool as that can be techie wise. Like there's just so many moving parts with that. And there's so much stress on your donors trying to figure out how to pull their phones back out of their pockets and get on there and donate and everything else. If you want to do it, do it. I'm not here to tell you not to, but one of the things that this can help with, if you do feel like you've got this squished thing and you're like, oh my God, the thermometer's not going up. Why is it not going up? Because people are still fumbling with their phones. You know, do a traditional paddle raise. Have people raise their hands, you know, show the goal on the screen, take it off, do your paddle raise, get it all entered, see where you're at, maybe even slightly adjust your goal. So say you hit your goal, you know, you could slightly adjust it, and just show that you have a little bit of a gap left. Or if you hit your goal, celebrate, throw it back up there and say, we hit it. Or if you're, 10 grand short, put it up there and say you're 10 grand short. Sometimes just using the thermometer in kind of different spots helps. And you can do that if you do your paddle raise or your appeal right after your presentation. And then while the live's going on, you're getting all that entered. You're making sure it's accurate. Everybody who's been bid recording and running around and writing down paddle numbers, you've consolidated all that data and you've got a solid, accurate depiction of where you're at appeal wise. Throw the thermometer up there and show people, and then say, look, you can do one more final appeal after the live. We're 10,000 short. If you didn't win anything in live and you want to consider helping us get to this, fill this $10,000 gap, here's your opportunity, right? So something to think about. All right. Pro tip time. All right. So I don't know if this is the number one thing we get questions on, but it's definitely up there. It's like images. And like when you come from paper bid sheets, this is new, right? Like the whole idea of manipulating images and getting them to look right in the software. And it's like, hey, I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for mobile bidding. Why do I have to become an image manipulator? And we have some tips and tricks. And well, one of our favorites is to use Google Slides, because Google Slides, if you go to the 4x3 format of Google Slides, not the widescreen, but this 4x3, and you use that as your canvas, you can drop stuff in there and resize it and save them as JPEGs. And it's kind of I'd say a poor man's image resizer, but it works great. It's poor man's because it's free.
That's how I resize my images. I'm excited to hear this pro tip.
Yes. Okay. We're going to get a little techie, AI techie. What do you think? Okay. All right. So, now you may not have Photoshop. Okay. I'm going to show you how to do this in Photoshop because it's cool. And they've got some new AI capabilities in here, generative fill and generative expand. I know that sounds really kind of scary, but it's really not. Okay. So let's just play with this. So if I want to expand an image, so let me just go in here and say this. I had a lot of fun with this morning. So, so who has an image that looks like this? And you're saying to yourself, this image is just not going to work in Handbid. Why? Because Handbid has a, kind of your classic square canvas, and one of two things is going to happen. Either Handbid's going to have to fit this image from the top to the bottom, right? And which means you're going to have all this stuff on the sides, and that doesn't really work well, or it's going to zoom way in on it so that it fills the canvas. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have Photoshop help us. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're just going to get it to expand the selection. So, and if you don't know what you're doing, you can actually start this. They give you a little tour, which is kind of cool. So we're going to go to the crop thing, and I'm going to go down here and we're going to talk about photos, and I'm going to say, I really need it to be 4x3. And now I want to expand this thing out, right? Because I want to get everything in here in this 4x3 format. Okay. Now this is a little ugly, right? I mean, because this is my image, and now I'm making it bigger. So what's going to go in here? Okay. And this is where you can tell Photoshop to do something kind of cool. Okay. So I'm going to hit generative expand. And what do I want it to do? Well, maybe I want it to look like it's sitting on a, fancy living room wall. So I'll say, let's do a nice, fancy living room wall. I have no idea what this is going to do, by the way, you guys. This could be crazy. But so let's hit generate. And so now it's going to go off and it's going to generate this, and who knows? If you want it to be a plain background, you can say, put it on a plain background. If you want to put it, on a wall of clouds, you can do that. All right. So that's not bad. Look, you see like the lamp here in the corner, and they give you variations. So, ooh, look at that.
Ooh.
Oh, fancy. Okay. I like that one, by the way. Okay. Hey, don't judge. If you don't like it, you don't have to pick this variation. This is the beauty of it, right? It gives you choices. And if we don't like any of it, you could turn all of this off. But this is kind of cool, right? And this would actually fit in Handbid. Okay. What do you think? What do you guys think?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's try something else. So let's go back. We're going to leave this. And so let's go back. Let's try a different pro tip. So let's do the generative fill. So what the heck does this mean? Okay, so let's take, I find a runner online, and again, nice legal disclaimer. We assume you're all using legally available images. Okay. But in this case here, let me just skip this. I want this guy. Okay. And so here's how good this software has become, you guys, because I can go back to the days of Photoshop where I had to use like a stupid lasso tool and go around and select this dude, but I'm going to hit select subject. You remember those? Yes, of course. So I select this subject. Okay. So now what do I want to do with him? So I want to select the opposite though. I don't want him. So I'm going to, Command Option I this. Oops. No, Command Shift I. I'm going to select the opposite, which is the background, and let's fill it. What do we want to fill it with? We want them running. So let's do a desert trail
on a beach.
You want to run on a beach?
I
Okay.
want to run on a beach.
Beach with, I'll say sand with ocean and waves in the background. Okay. What the heck is this going to generate? I have no idea. Okay. I probably would go find that image I want. I would just extract him out and I would paste him into that. But this is a little more exciting to see what this can do for you. So maybe I have a running on the beach type of item. Look at there.
No.
Not bad.
This is pretty impressive.
I've even impressed the Handbid team. That is so cool. You guys think this is fun. Okay, so anyway, you guys can play around with that. That's a Photoshop thing. If you guys have a Photoshop license, if you're thinking we can't afford it, go to TechSoup. And, as long as your charity matches what Adobe's willing to donate to, you can get Photoshop extremely cheaply. Otherwise, I think it's $30 a month or something. So you might find some use to this, or somebody on your graphics team might. Okay, so that is our pro tip.
I love it.
Okay, so we're going to also show you another pro tip. Okay, so we did images. Let's talk about descriptions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I hate writing item descriptions. I really do. And the thing is sometimes though, when they're written or you start to get in, you just say, I just need to make this better. I need to make it shorter. Handbid's got this really cool feature you guys probably know about, right? When you go over here to description, you have your main description, but you have this display sheet description, and the display sheet description is what's going to get printed out. And if you've written a 3-page gorgeous description of a trip for 2 to Hawaii for 6 nights, then, and this is kind of boring, right? Yeah. We're going to make this way better. Then obviously you can't put all of that on the display sheet. So there's a lot of options here. We're going to use Chat GPT. We're going to do some fun stuff with it. There's Claude, there's other ones. We use Jasper here as well. So you'll find one that kind of works for you. But I would say, write me a detailed item description for a trip to Maui. Let's be more specific, right? For 2 nights, for 2 people at the Hyatt Regency. The winners will get a $250 credit at the resort and will be invited on a helicopter tour of the island. Okay. Maybe on let's call it a 2-hour. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna let Chat GPT write our description here. Indulge in the ultimate tropical game. Oh, I love this. Okay. Okay, so this is a pretty good start.
Yeah.
Okay. The problem with this is that this is too long for the
display sheet.
Okay. So we're going to TLDR this. You guys know what TLDR is? Too long, didn't read. Okay. So anyway, this is, I think Chat GPT can get like,
Yeah.
It's suggesting things that I'm not even sure are true at this point. Okay. But let's just copy this guy, and this is our item description. Okay, there we go. And we can come in here and clean up the bullets and that kind of stuff. That wasn't the point of this demo. Okay, but let's go back here and say, give me a TLDR that is less than, I don't know, 1,000 characters.
Yeah.
Let's see what it does. There you go. There. So all you folks who are like fretting over item descriptions and stuff, you can do it this way. You can even say, you know what, I don't even like it that like put it in a bullet format, you know, so maybe you like this better. So you can go in here and really kind of mess with that. Okay. Cool. And you know, I think also, you know, for everybody on the call, like give it a shot. Or you know what I tend to do now is I tend to literally start with these bullets. Like this is what's in my item description, and then I just highlight it and say make it better. Right. Or make it more interesting, or you know, make it, you know, less wordy, or you know, make it more convincing. And then if you don't even know what to call it, say give me a catchy item name that describes this package but is less than the Handbid limit of 55 characters for an item name. There you go. Maui Sky Escape, Hyatt Luxury and Tour. I probably wouldn't pick that as my name, but it's not bad. You know me, I'm the guy who wants to say trip to Maui for 2 nights. Like it's kind of boring, I know.
Yeah.
Versus the people that are like the indulge in the Hawaiian blah blah blah, right?
Hawaiian
and I'm like,
curry,
what the
you don't
heck
really
is
know
it?
what that means.
All right, so second part of our pro tip. Let's move on. If you guys have any questions on how to do that stuff, you know, you can always reach out, but hopefully these kind of give you some ideas.
Drop them into the Q&A and we're here to answer them.
All right. Well, what are we really here for? We are here to talk to one of our new partners. I am happy to introduce Tricia Rosevear from the Risk-Free Item Shop. And we just implemented this recently. And so we're in the process of kind of kicking off some marketing campaigns with them. And this would be one of them, is just to kind of, you know, turn the floor over to Tricia, and she can walk you through what the Risk-Free Item Shop is. And Tricia, you know, I'm also happy to forward any slides along the way if we need to do that. So in this case here, do you want to quickly start on what it is and how it works? And then we'll go over to you to kind of do the demo.
Okay, that sounds good. And I'll just make sure I can share my screen here. But well, it's great to be here. Thanks so much, Jeff, for the invite, and to the team. And we're excited to be partnering with Handbid to offer all of you a much easier way to source items. What is consignment? It's either consignment, risk-free, no risk. It's all the same thing. Basically, it's a third party that offers you as a nonprofit some type of item or package, memorabilia, jewelry, whatever it is, that you can feature at your auction, make money on, and not have to pay for it unless it sells. So it's a fantastic resource. And, you know, there's a lot of different providers out there. And so, you know, what we did is we decided to put it into this really easy format. Everybody likes to go shopping, right? How about you go shopping and not have to pay for anything? So that's kind of the idea here, is be able to source items, put stuff in your cart, and be able to feature that at your auction. And if it sells, great. And if it doesn't, no harm, no foul. We're going to actually show you, we're going to jump in a second, but I just kind of wanted to, like, what's the high level here? What is it? It's something that's offered a consignment and you don't have to pay for it unless it sells. And it is accessible now within Handbid, which makes it even easier for you, where you can then download the items into your portal and just have the whole thing be easier. Risk-free at its best is supposed to be super easy. And so we're just going to jump in here. Let me see that I can share my screen. Okay, I think someone...
I'll hit stop share. Does that work?
Yes, here we go. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep, looks great.
Okay. When you click this button that Jeff's going to show you, just to make, hold on, there we go. That's available on the Handbid. You're going to land right here, right? So this is the shop, this is the site. And the first thing you're going to see is this promise that says source best-selling items for your auction. And just remind you, there's no upfront cost and you only pay the charity cost if it sells. If you scroll down here, there's some handy how it works. This is always here for you. So if you have any questions, you can always take a look at that. But I'm just going to show you how easy it is to source items. But before I do that, like, let's even talk about why you'd want to use consignment, right? I mean, some of you, depending on what door you came in, you're like, I've never heard of this before, or I did it once and it did not work out well for me, or, I'm curious. So no matter, what door you came in, let's just talk about what it really can do for you at its best. At its best, it's going to save you tons of time. It's going to give you access to things that you wouldn't have. Like, unless you've got somebody that that has a castle in Normandy for 10, and who's willing to get all the phone calls when they can't find, something, you don't want to do that. Utilize a fantastic partner that's going to be able to bring you all these different things. I love this one. I'm super excited. This is my dream. I want to go to the Macy's Day Parade someday, and I want to be in a penthouse and I want to be watching it. So I personally wish I could buy this. But there's like so many different types of things that you're going to find on this shop. And that's the idea of risk-free, is you're going to have access to, beach vacations and a fighter, fly a fighter jet, go on a hot air balloon. What about a really cool train through the Swiss Alps? That's all the different types of things that you'll be able to utilize. When you think about your auction, the reason to utilize risk-free is to add that wow factor, right? It's supposed to do two things. It's supposed to be able to make you more money, right? And also delight your donors. You want them to go, wow, I need to go back, because they always have the coolest stuff, right? So either, this bidding buying criteria, I don't know how familiar you are with that, but there's three different criteria that we kind of talk about that a donor has when they come into an auction. They're looking for a good deal, right? Or they're looking for something they'd normally buy anyways, and they'd love to do it within the context of supporting you. Or they're looking for something that they don't even know what they're looking for, because, I see that, I got it, I want it, I need that, right? Here's this Versace mansion. You can stay at the Versace mansion. I didn't know I needed that, but now I super want this. So that's that kind of special X factor that you're going to be able to add. And that's why risk-free makes sense, right? Because one of the objections we get is, well, if they buy a package, then they're not going to donate. And that's actually not true. You're actually unlocking their disposable income. And people have like, here's what I'm going to donate bucket, and then here's what I'm going to buy bucket. And those two actually work, separately. So if a donor comes in and they're like, we were thinking of going to Mexico. Here's a Mexico trip. Let's go ahead and get that. They're still going to donate to you. You're going to still have your paddle raises and everything else. So it's a really great way to be able to maximize your donor. They are there because they want to support you. And so this is just another fantastic way to draw that out. In order to utilize risk-free, one of the things I've worked in the nonprofit industry for a while now. And what we kept hearing was, well, it's hard, and there's this list, and I have to call, and they don't tell me the prices, then I have to call somebody, and now they're upselling me. And do I have to? No, I don't want to do this. That, or there's just so many, I don't even know. How do I know I'm going to have the kind of customer service that I need? Is someone going to answer my questions? Are they going to be responsive? What if a year later, when my donor wants to go on this trip, it's no longer available? What do we do? There's some vetting that has to happen. And that's what we do. We created the shop to make it easy for you as a nonprofit to go, I don't have to think about all those things. We're the Expedia, if you will. You're going to come on here and you're going to be able to know that we've vetted all of the different items and packages that are on here, so that you can just choose what you want. You can feature them and have that assurance that they're going to be really great quality, and that you're going to have that customer service and all the good things are going to be in the background that you don't have to think about. All right, let's talk about the shop itself. All right, so one of the things I'd like to show you is categories. You can scroll here because it's fun to look at and like, wow, I can do all these things. But the best way to really shop is to utilize these different categories. We have a best sellers category. Like right now, I mean, can we just say Taylor Swift is off the hook, right? So every single package order that we see, she's in there. And so she's in the bestseller, right? So there's a seasonality, there's a what's happening in the world and society kind of thing going on, but we keep tabs on that. And so everything in our best sellers category is the packages that are coming in, that they're selling, that they're doing really well. Everything in our shop is by nature, just the fact that they actually made it in there is that they're a bestseller. But these are the popular ones. And so you can see what's really trending right now, that Mexico trip. We have a lot of different types of price points. So, if you look all across these different categories, you see interest. But if you're like, I know that my group, they're really going to do well in the under $1,600, right? This is your charity cost. you're going to want to tack on a little bit, like build in a little bit of margin for you. And then it's yours to keep. You pay the charity cost. Everything above that is yours to keep. But if you're looking for a specific price point, you know, go look at under 1600, or maybe it's a 3 to 5. Or if you're like, I want that special X factor, here's that Normandy Chateau for 10, right? So you have all kinds of different ways that you can utilize and source these items. How it works is you would come in here. So let's go to our best sellers. I'm actually going to look at a jewelry package. We include Jewels with a Purpose as one of our partners because they are amazing. They have been helping the nonprofit raise money for 20-something years, raise millions of dollars, and all of their designs are exclusive. You can't actually buy them, which makes it really, really fun. I mean, once you discover the power of their jewelry, you're like, every year, you're like, we're going to feature them because it sells so well. But if you click on anything in the shop, you're going to see the photos that are associated with it. I have some of their stuff. I love it. I wear it all the time. You're going to be able to see a description. You're going to know exactly what's in here. You're going to know how it works. So at the bottom, you'll see related packages. But you can easily request this and put this in your cart, right? So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I'm like, okay, it's in there. I want to keep shopping though. Let me look at memorabilia, right? Our memorabilia is all vetted. It's all authentic. You know, as a nonprofit, how do you know? Like someone donates something to you. Does it have a certificate of authenticity? Did they just get it on eBay? Nobody knows. And so it's fantastic to be able to know that everything that you're sourcing is actually true. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I say that proudly.
You're just doing that to make Stephanie happy.
Just going to say your time is
I
done.
planned that.
I didn't, but you know, there it is. So I'm going to actually put this in my cart as well. Again, I can read about it, you know, all the fantastic stuff about it. And then I'm going to choose a trip. So again, I'm going to go to golf. I know that I've got some golfers in my group. And so we're just going to take the Scottish golf adventure. Really beautiful. How pretty is that? So once you've decided you've got all this stuff in your cart, you're like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and check out. What does checking out entail? The first thing is you want to review. Oh, somehow I put 2 of these in here. So let me just make that adjustment. Look at everything else. Good to go. I'm going to click checkout. There is no credit card that you have to put in. The only thing that we're going to ask for you is just some basic contact information. So you're going to put in your email. I'm actually going to do that because that way you know exactly what you're doing. So Trisha. Okay, you're going to put your name. I'm just going to go fast here. Company name, I'm just going to do that. And then you're going to put in Handbid because that is the platform that you're using. This is going to actually be something that we're going to be sending to our item partners. So then you click continue. That's literally all. When I place this order here, see how fast the system is running here today. You're going to actually be directed to download the materials right away. So say you have an auction coming up in like, I don't know, tonight or this weekend. You're like, where do I get the photos? All professional, amazing, beautiful photos. Where I get the photos, where I get the detailed descriptions. You're going to be able to download them right here. And that way you're going to have everything that you need. When you utilize any kind of risk-free item provider, you have to call them, blah, blah, none of that has to happen. We are your liaison. When we see this order come through, we actually contact the provider and we're like, hey, order came through. This is what they want. And they're like, great, we'll take it from here. They reach out to you in about 2 business days and they say, okay, you chose these things and here's how it works. And when's your auction date? And we'll check in with you after that and we'll find out if something's sold. That's as easy as it is. It's literally that easy. And you'll actually even get a little message from our support team going, hey, we got your order. So you know there's a live person there for you. If you have any questions, you can always email us. And then, of course, the item provider is going to be working with you. I'm going to actually go back to the shop because I want to show you a resource that you can utilize. What if you're like, I have absolutely no idea what I should be sourcing? You know, you've got your, whoever it is, maybe it's you, maybe it's your admin, and you're like, well, I want to go to Mexico. So I assume everybody else wants to go to Mexico. I'm just going to put that in there. Or you can utilize some AI. Jeff's already talked about AI. It's not as spooky as it sounds. It's actually really cool and it's really easy. But we have something called the Donor Intelligence Report. And what that is an opportunity for you to get an overview, right? It's a general overview of your audience. So all you need to do is literally put in, we have a real easy way here. You're going to download our template, you populate it, just follow these 3 steps, put in some information in these boxes and you click it and it's going to actually create a report for you that looks like this. So you're going to have some financial insights, some demographics, you're going to have, you know, generational breakdown, and you're going to find out how they like to be communicated with. All this is here, and this is all on the shop site that you can look at. But what I want to point out is this area of donor interests. It's going to aggregate the top donor interests. And this is a great guide, because if you really don't have any idea what your audience is interested in, particularly those top 2, pay attention to that. Because if they're interested in cooking, you should probably get that class of, you know, learning how to cook in New Orleans with a chef. So you're able to really kind of match that, which is really fun. That's really as simple as it is. You don't need to let anybody know. You don't need to register. You just need to click from that platform and go straight into the shop and be able to source items. So I can take questions now, or I can have Jeff show you, if I can turn back over to Jeff and have him show you exactly where it is on the platform.
Yeah, while the questions are coming in, we can definitely do that. I'll kind of flip over and show you guys. Look, I will say, just in our experience, and we've worked with a variety of consignment partners, what's nice about working with the risk-free item shop is that these partners are all vetted. They're not all the same. And what you do not want is, you cannot shop on price, and you have to be very careful who you work with, because down the road, especially if it's a trip, you don't want one of your best donors calling you 6 months or 8 months after your event saying that they're struggling to get their trip booked.
Right.
So you want to work with a partner that's going to give them that premium customer service. Because think about it, right? Say this trip costs you $4,000, okay? And so it's probably worth $6,000 or $7,000 or $8,000, and somebody at your event spends 12 or 14 on it. What do you think they think it's worth? They think it's worth 12 or 14. They want to be treated like somebody who bought a $14,000 trip, not a $4,000 trip. Okay. So your partners that you work with in risk-free item shop has definitely vetted them, are going to be the types of partners that are going to take care of that. And we have done countless webinars and podcasts on the authenticity of signed memorabilia. You know, it's a passion of ours that we make sure that you guys are not buying bad stuff out there. Unfortunately, there's a lot of it out there. There's a lot of stuff that is fraudulent, that is not signed by the actual person. So working with trusted vendors who are going to get you that signed item, along with not just a certificate of authenticity, but one that comes from a reputable source. That is what you're looking for. It's like the good housekeeping, is that what they call it? The good housekeeping seal of approval, right? That's what you want. Like, I don't want some random person I've never heard of saying it's authentic. I want a Beckett, or I want a PSA, or I want a JSA, or I want the team itself doing that. So that's the nice thing about doing it all inside of this, is that that's been done for you. Okay. The last thing I would say, I want to reinforce that Trisha made a point on, is that it's not an either or, right? It's not, I'm going to donate $5,000 to your event, or I'm going to go on a trip to Mexico. It is not that, right? These are different parts of people's wallets. Discretionary income is roughly in the US is about somewhere between 12 and 14% of somebody's, basically household income is discretionary. So if you have a household that's doing 200,000, you're talking about people's discretionary income of 20 to 30K. It is historically known, and it is not really changed historically, that on average households donate about 2% of their household income to charities. Go ahead.
Jeff, I can just jump in and add to that. We've had some nonprofits go, well, how will they know? It's super easy. If you would like to just make sure that everybody's on board, when you're doing that item description, just put in, this item is provided by a third party and our organization will receive a portion of the proceeds. That's it. So that you're always welcome to do that as well. And the other thing that I just wanted to mention is pricing is so important. Don't just put this in at the charity cost. You definitely want, we always recommend, here's the goal. First of all, you're going to get a guide. When you download your marketing materials, you're going to have a pricing guide. But just as a good to know, if something is $2,500 and under, we say put in it, for $500. So if you're looking at that Mexico trip that's $895, add $500 to that. We know it sells. We've seen it sell for $3,000. So put that in there. If something is over $2,500, again, this is all in the pricing guide, add 20%. Because if you only have one golfer that shows up to your entire event and you've got that golf and he's just going to bid, they're going to bid on that, you've made some money. And hopefully you have a bunch and they're going to, raise that up. But pricing is also such an important part that I think nonprofits can miss when they're utilizing risk-free, and then they go, well, I didn't make any money. So just wanted to point that out.
I think that's important.
Yeah, we have some questions.
We have some questions. Well, let's fire away, ladies.
When we download the item, will we receive the picture and description?
Yes.
So if you can just provide some clarity on that.
Yeah. So actually how it works here is that you can actually, let me just show you. Do I have like a few more minutes, Jeff? Yeah. Let's go ahead and add something in here. We're just going to add the Baja. So I've gone through this.
Now you're speaking my language, Trisha. Cabo.
You love Cabo. Love Cabo.
I love Cabo.
So I'm actually going to take you all the way through so that because you're going to get everything that you need right out of the gate. The only thing that you're not going to get is you're going to wait for a couple days for the item provider to come back to you. They're going to have you sign an agreement that says, hey, you want to get these things, great. And if they sell, you'll pay for them. And they'll give you that information, but you have everything you need for your auction. So again, just do this real quick here. So we're going to go through this process. We've pressed continue. We've placed the order. And now we're on that screen that I had showed you earlier about thanks for your order. Do you see this orange button right here? Download. So you're going to download this, and this is going to go to your desktop. If you can't see this, let me know. But I'm just going to open that up. Can you see that?
Not the download.
No, not the download.
How about now?
See it.
Okay. So every single package is going to have its own little PDF that you can download immediately. And if you just like, hey, I exited the shop, how do I get them? Don't worry, you're getting an email too. We just want to make sure that you can get it both ways. But what this is going to do, it's like, this is the item provider for this package. They're going to reach out to you in a few days. Here's the access to email if you have any questions. Here's the name of the package. And then here is the link, right? You're going to click that. It's going to show you the retail value. And then on the second page, you're going to see the pricing recommendations. Okay. So you can see what I was talking about here. And this is just a good guide. You have, once you click that, you have everything that you need. You have the pictures, you have, just get back to the shop. You have the pictures and you have the detailed descriptions. You even have a winner certificate. So as you're waiting to kind of make sure that transition is going where you pay for it and they reach out and give the voucher, you can actually send that to your people as well. One thing I wanted to mention, if it's a tangible item like jewelry or memorabilia, the item providers are happy to ship those to you free in advance so you can feature that at your event as well. So that's a fantastic to take advantage of because people get excited when they see the stuff and they know they can take it home.
Have to return it, Stephanie, if it's not sold. You cannot keep the Dak Prescott signed Cowboys helmet.
Well, yeah, that is true. But
Pointing it out for her, unless she buys it at the auction.
Okay, so I have a question on that note. So a question that we commonly get asked is, when is the charity responsible for paying for these items? So they order them here, they put them in their auction, it sells. When do they have to pay?
That's a great question. Absolutely. So when the item provider reaches out, so say you put in the order, you got a little message from us that says, hey, we got the order. A couple days later, item provider comes in and they're like, all right, when's your auction? My auction's in 2 weeks. They notate that. They have that in their back end system. And so they're going to come back to you in about, like they'll give you like 48 hours or whatever. They'll come back and go, hey, did anything sell? And you say, yes, these things sold. They go, great. This is important. If it's travel, they cannot legally send that voucher to your winner until you pay for it. So they're going to say, okay, here, we're going to send you this invoice. You can pay for it however you want, credit card, check, whatever. Once they receive that payment, then they're going to send that travel voucher to your winner. So to answer your question, like right after your auction ends, you're going to get that invoice and just know that you need to pay that. If it's hard stuff, if it's jewelry, if it's, this is where that honor system is so important. Everybody's really trusting in this category, which is fantastic. So you have jewelry and you have, the DAC helmet went home with Stephanie. Fantastic. And now you need to pay for it. So they're going to be trusting you to go, yeah, these things sold. Bill me for this, because
don't let Stephanie go home without paying for it, people. And
yeah, I think we just need to watch
that-
Stephanie all together when it comes to anything Dallas Cowboys. So Stephanie, I'm right there with you.
Generically speaking, you should get your bidders to pay for whatever they're taking home with them. If you know them really well, I get it, but it's hard. Even well-meaning people, it's hard to chase them down after the event.
Right. And that's why utilizing a phenomenal, platform like Handbid is going to take all that guesswork out, because you do have that money. Into one of the questions I'll get that will be tagged onto this typically is, what if it doesn't sell? Who has to pay for that? And that is where, the item provider is like, we're going to ship this to you free, and, you're going to need to ship it back if it doesn't sell. So do keep that in mind. Jewelry doesn't cost very much at all. In fact, one of the things that people have been doing with jewelry, because it comes in a fundraising package, it comes with like 6 items or 12 items. And the reason is because jewelry sells better when it's a collection. If it's just this one random thing, it's like, well, that's interesting, but where did that come from? When you see it in a collection, you're like, wow. So it comes in 6 and you're like, well, I sold 5, I didn't sell all 6. And Jewels of the Purpose is really good about going, okay, no worries. It costs like a few dollars to ship back. Or they're like, do you just want to buy it wholesale so you can feature it again, or give it to a major donor or whatever? So there's different things that you can do there. I think I gave all that information, probably more than you wanted, but there it is. Now you know.
That's great. I think that's that's helpful advice. I didn't know. I mean, I don't know anything about jewelry, you guys. So, but when you were saying that, Trisha, they're all nodding their heads in the room. So I think you're right. It must sell. Jewelry sells in bundles. That sounds like I just learned something today. I'm really happy. Okay. All of this is good. And so where are we going to go with this? We mentioned earlier, like we want to do more integration. I'm going to show you where you can get it inside of Handbid. We are going to work with Risk-Free Item Shop to continue to streamline what that looks like. So how can you shop right inside of Handbid? How can you pull the item in without having to do an export and an import? All of that stuff is coming, right? And who knows? I mean, maybe we can get really creative with some of these vendors and even handle and automate some of the payments for you on the back end. Who knows? We never know. Could be fun. You're looking at me like I'm nuts. So, all right. What?
Innovation happening live now. Yeah.
I want to see that happen. Okay. So this button, if you do not see this button, your item list, let service know. They will turn it on for you. It should be there. It's the Risk-Free Item Shop. When you click it, it's going to take you, it's going to open up a new tab and take you there. Okay. And you can kind of do what you're doing. Okay. Some other things that she mentioned, when you're talking about that donor intelligence report, what data are you going to upload? Here's a couple of ideas for you. Upload either last year's bidder data. Okay. That can be helpful, or upload like your invite list. So if you say, these are the people I'm inviting to my event, so I know they're coming. Really what that report wants is a name, first name, last name, email, and phone number. And they're going to try to match on that and try to find some information about that person based on that information. So that is all available to you in bidder lists, contact lists, invite lists. Okay. So where is the invite list? It's right here underneath guests, and you can even dynamically generate your invite list. So you could say something like, let's find everybody who bid in a prior event. And I don't know, do we want to select all previous events or something? And this thing will go off and, kind of calculate who won what and add it in here. I probably should. There's probably 600 events.
I just looked at each other. Don't do that.
90 people. There you go. All right. So I could add 90 people into here, and then maybe you export that and send it over to them, and it'll tell you what their interests are. Okay. We're big into what we call data-driven decision making, right? So, when you think about what items do I want to put in there, that's some predictive analysis, right? That's AI telling you, we think this is the kind of stuff that they're going to like. You also can go into past auctions. I'm sure we have one in here we can find. Diana's has 6 bids in it. It's not going to be a super sexy report, but one of the ones that I think is helpful is if you go in here, you can go to this category performance one. And I love this report, especially if you have a complete auction, because it's going to show you what items you put in a category. And we assume, I could be super presumptuous here, that the items that birds of a feather flock together, right? Like all the items that are in your category are similar. Okay. So in this case here, you might see, it's like I say, it's not that great of a report, but under home and garden, I had 4 bids, 0.8 bids per item, and kind of what the fair market value was. And really over here is what you're going after. And we should probably pull up one that's a lot more interesting, but you'll start to see, wow, like this auction had 300% of fair market value in the concert tickets. These are concert goers. So maybe if I'm inviting the same people this year and I look at what they did last year, I should get some more concert tickets, that kind of stuff. Anyway.
Must have invited the Handbid team.
That's right. We're concert nerds here. All right. So awesome. Tricia, thank you for doing that. Thank you for showing us Risk-Free Item Shop. And if we have any other follow-up questions, guys, shoot them in the chat or reach out to us and we can pass them on to them. But we super encourage you guys to check it out. Consider putting some of those items in there. Like I said, they've vetted all the best providers out there. So you might be already working with some of those providers. This is just an easier way to get there. Okay. Yeah. Especially I like how it's organized where like, I just need something that's under $1,600. Give me some of those items. Sometimes you go to some of these other platforms, it's hard to find that. So they've done a really nice job of kind of organizing that for you. So you kind of know what's there. All right.
Yeah.
All right. We are running out of time. Let's roll into, latest and greatest. All right. We have some stuff that we've recently rolled out. I want to show you some of that because it doesn't always get pushed out in release notes. Sometimes they're little minor things we do. We also have some stuff coming up that I want to share with you kind of what's on the horizon. We're not going to get into anything super big. We do have some cool new upgrades coming out that are going to take a little longer to finish. But some other things that we have coming out. So private event invite code. So this will be coming out shortly. We've already launched it for some of our white label clients. Literally what this will do is it will require that a user enter in a 5-digit, it doesn't have to be a number, but a 5-digit code in order to enter into your auction. So it's going to pop up as soon as they go to your auction. It's just another layer of isolating if you have a private event and you don't want people even seeing the items in the auction because it's so private. You can use a code like this. Okay. And you set it in the manager, it will show up in the phones, it will show up on the web. Once they are a registered bidder, it never shows them the code to request the code again. Okay. So if you want to get around the code, just register as a bidder and that'll get around. Okay. Drawing report we came out with a while ago, and then we released it to most people over the summer. You can go in here, you know me, I'm not a huge fan of most of you guys running raffles and drawings because most of the time they're not legal. But either way, if you are doing one, what you can do, let's just go into for sale item here and I'll show you what you can do. So you can pick in here something that's an item. So that's a drawing item. So this is a drawing ticket. Okay. I click on it. Now at the bottom, you can say it's a drawing, and then how many entries does this ticket? So if this is one entry, you would put in, okay, like type. If so, maybe you want to do like it's one ticket for, what does this item cost here? $10. So one ticket for 10, and then maybe it's going to be 3 for 20. That sound fair? What a great deal. Okay, so we're gonna copy. Oop, I'm not going to close this item. I'm going to copy it. All right, so Where's my drawing ticket copy? Down at the bottom. Okay. So this will be drawing ticket, 3 entries, $20. So what makes it 3 entries? Because I type in 3. Okay. So now when people buy this, it's going to give them entries. So what does that mean? So for example, if I go in here and purchase it,
You gotta open it.
I have to open it. See, they make me do all these little things.
We're
Like-
just here to keep you in line, Jeff.
I know. Okay, so in this case here, if I do bid buy and I make a purchase, and we can be this person and drawing ticket. So I have the 3. So I'll buy one of those. And then maybe Carrie Porter is going to just buy the single drawing ticket. We're not going to get super elaborate with this demo. Okay, so under reports, drawing purchases, under items, okay, I can add a filter. I can pick, I need these 2 items. Okay, it's going to show them now because Lori bought 3. She bought the 1 for 3. She gets 3 entries. Carrie gets 1 entry. You can randomize the list if you want. We don't pick winners. So you can export this out, or you can have Siri pick you a number between 1 and 4, however you want to do it. But it is a way to kind of help streamline whatever prize drawings you're doing. Now, where are we going to take this feature? This feature, to make it more legal for you guys, what we're going to do is we're going to allow you to offer a free entry. That is what you legally have to do. And there's a lot of rules and restrictions around how you do that. We'll employ those as well. But what will happen is out on the end user's interface, it will say, request a free entry. They're going to have to fill out a very onerous form to request that free entry. And then we will put those entries in here and we will mark them on an invoice, and probably discount them out so they won't owe you any money. That will kind of get you around some of the restrictions that some states have around drawings. But so that feature will, kind of come out, sometime next year to kind of cover, that option. Otherwise, if you are physically at an event and you are doing a drawing, you do need to offer a free entry option, to your donors if they request one. And Lord help us if our donors show up at a fundraiser and ask for free entries into your drawing. But anyway, enough of that. So what else was in our list? We had the drawing item, theme editor updates. This is kind of nice. What we did in here recently is underneath the mobile tab is we give you the ability to change the category label color and the button label color. And then we also underneath labels here, we're giving you the option of changing what the button labels say. So why? Well, because maybe you're doing voting, and so you're doing a fan favorite, maybe you're doing a fashion show and you've got people entering, or at my Derby event, we do a ladies hat contest. I'm snapping photos of people walking in the door. We're putting them in there as a donation item, and every vote is a $5 donation, but I don't want it to say buy now or donate. I want it to say vote. So you can change those labels here. Okay. Just gives you a little bit more flexibility to kind of customize your event. Okay. Auction status and settings tracker. So we've had this for a while. We're going to eventually expose this to you guys. This is an audit log of everything that's happened in your auction settings or in your status. So if you're trying to figure out who in the heck closed your auction, you can go in here and see status was changed. Okay. And look, we've obviously a lot has been done in this particular auction, but if I went in here and said settings changed, I can see what they were. If there were, sometimes you won't see much. Sometimes you'll see a lot. Let's go in here and look here and see what we find. Status change, settings change. So you'll see here a timer was set. Okay. So the timer start time was set to here and the timer end time was set to that. And so if you want to know who set your timer, you're going to find it in here. Okay. So that will help you if you're trying to figure out who in the heck on my team turned off requiring credit cards, you'll see it. Okay. What was the next thing we were going to do? Polling. Oh, this is fun. Okay. We launched this actually a while ago too, and it's been in here and you guys might be asking what in the heck are polls? Okay. Well, you can create like an interactive poll. Okay. And so in this case here, if I go to my polls, I have one who will be the 2024 NCAA men's basketball champion. Okay. Well, this is a March Madness auction, so that makes sense, right? And where do they show up? Well, under your live stream, when you go to promote an item under your live stream, you have a poll. Okay. And I'm promoting this poll. Okay. That poll is also going to show up in Handbid TV. And as people answer the question online, it's going to real time change these answers. Okay. So it is kind of fun in that regard. Okay. So you can kind of get a sense of who's responded and kind of what the number one answer is. They're answering on their phone. Okay. So in this case here, if we go to the auction website, I think I'm a registered, you have to be a registered bidder to see the poll. Let's go to our live stream here. And I'm not, I got to log in. So now there's my poll. Okay. I'm a registered bidder because we have to know who they are. So in this case here, I can vote. So I can add an answer. And of course, I'm going to pick Virginia. Okay. And you see that change immediately up here. So anyway, it's kind of fun. When you see these things go back and forth, people can edit and change their answer till you close the poll. Okay. All right. I don't have time to get into like all the demos of what's coming up. I do want to walk you through some stuff that we're doing. We are putting in audits on bid removed, item change audits. So everything you just saw in auction settings, that's all going to be in here as well. I think it's down here. So in this case here, if you go into this item, I'm not going to demo everything that you can do, but you'll see, you can audit the item. You can see any changes that were made to it and kind of what they are. Okay. You also can, you can pull an item now. So if you have an item with like 20 bids and all of a sudden it broke and you need to get rid of it, you can pull it. It will delete all the bids and basically put the item in pending and take it out of your auction. So you're not sitting there like manually deleting bids. Okay. You can copy items to other auctions. Okay. So we're going to add that feature as well. You can select these two bulk actions, edit items, copy to an auction, pick the auction you want to copy it to. Okay. You'll be able to limit sales on for sale items. So if you want to say people can only buy a max of 2 of these, you can do that. And then the thing that we're working on that was been a major overhaul for us in terms of how we close items is extended bidding. So we went back to the drawing board over the summer and how we wanted to do this because we want it to be efficient. You know, we have some auctions that have thousands of items in them, and we want to make sure that they're all closing accurately. So, so extended bidding is almost done. And we do hope to get that out before the end of the year. And it will let you bulk set timers. That'll be kind of cool. So you could select 25 items and say, I want you to close them with a 1-minute staggered close, and it'll set all the timers for you. And then for those of you excited about wanting to schedule the opening of your auction, we'll add that in there too. Okay. All right. Whew, that was a lot. All right. If you're not a Handbid client, you want to book a demo with us, you want to dive into any of this stuff, please reach out to us. Go to our website, hit the talk to us page, and either watch the interactive demo there or fill out a form and we'll contact you. If you are a client and you have further questions about this, reach out to our service team, service@handbid.com. We would be happy to help you. All right. Anything else?
That's it. We'll see you next month.
Yes. Thank you guys. We'll see you in a month. We'll push out that information here soon on when that date is. Bye.